This video is going to show how to perform interlayer checks for rigid flex PCB designs in OrCAD X Presto. Rigid flex designs often have very tight tolerances and constraint regions, and errors can be costly. Having a via or pin too close to a transition zone between two stack-ups can lead to cracking and splitting, and having a pad too close to a transition zone can lead to peeling. Interlayer checks can be used to prevent these issues and get the rigid flex design right the first time. Start by opening the provided design in OrCAD X Presto. Let's activate the interlayer checks first. Select Tools, Constraint Manager from the menu to activate the Constraint Manager. In the Constraint Manager window, select Analyze Analysis Mode from the menu. The Analysis Modes window opens. Here you can configure which design rule checks are enabled. Select Design from the Mode table on the left side of the window. Expand General and select the checkbox under On for online interlayer checks to enable live interlayer checks. Click OK to save the settings and close the window. Let's confirm that the interlayer checks were enabled. Minimize the Constraint Manager. In the Properties panel, in the DRC subpanel, select Refresh to refresh the DRCs. The DRC pie chart is updated with interlayer check DRC errors, indicating that the check was performed as intended. Now let's create an interlayer check rule. Reopen the Constraint Manager. Select the spacing domain from the worksheet selector. Expand and select the interlayer spacing worksheet. The interlayer checks layer matrix and rules table opens. Here you can define all interlayer rules for the design. For this example, we'll create a rule to keep vias at least 12 mils away from any transition zones. To create a rule, we need to define the relevant layers. Select Via and Pin from the Layer 1 menu. The subclass matrix is filtered to show etch subclasses for pins and vias under Layer 1. Now let's filter Layer 2. Enter TR into the Layer 2 filter field. The matrix is filtered to include only subclasses with TR in the name, in this case, the transition zone subclass. Check the box at the intersection of the subclass and layer Flex 1 to define the check there. A new rule entry is added to the table. Next, we need to define the new rule entry. In the Rules table, select the type cell and select Gap from the drop-down menu. This will set the type of check to gap, which requires spacing between the Layer 1 and Layer 2 subclasses. Enter 12 for the value for a 12 mil gap. Check the box in the Enabled column to allow the DRC system to recognize and activate the rule. Enter T for the DRC label. This will label the corresponding DRC markers as IT, the I being a fixed character to indicate an interlayer DRC rule violation. Select Flex 1 from the DRC subclass dropdown to display the markers on the Flex 1 layer. Lastly, we'll enter a description for the rule to make it easier for other designers. The rule is defined and will be checked as part of the standard design rule check. Close the Constraint Manager. Next, let's see if we can find a violation of the new rule in the PCB canvas. To view DRC markers, select Visibility on the left side of the screen. The Visibility panel opens. Here you can configure visibility and color for any object on the board. In the Layers mode, click the button to activate visibility for DRCs for Flex 1. We need to update the DRC cache before any new markers are visible. Select Refresh in the DRC subpanel of the Properties panel. Select the Design section of the pie chart to filter the list of design errors. The Search panel opens at the bottom of the screen, showing DRC errors in the design domain. To filter the list even further, hover over the DRC subclass column header and select the filter icon. The Filter widget opens. Here you can filter entries in the DRC subclass column by a wildcard string, by a regular expression, or by a dropdown. Enter Flex 1 for the wildcard term and click OK. The list is filtered to 4 errors in the Flex 1 subclass, including 3 generated from the newly defined rule. Double-click an error to be brought to its location. The error markers are shown labeled as IT as we defined in the Rules table. We can fix these errors by sliding the affected vias. To do this, select the Slide mode from the toolbar. Click a via to select it. Move the mouse to adjust the via position and click again to place it. Adjust the three vias to space them from the transition zone, which is shown in green. When finished, choose the Select mode from the toolbar. If the number of out-of-date shapes in the DRC subpanel is greater than 0, click Refresh for out-of-date shapes, then click Refresh in the DRC subpanel. The error markers are removed, indicating that the vias are no longer in violation of the new rule. Quickly perform interlayer checks to prevent costly design errors such as peeling and cracking and ensure reliability for rigid flex designs with the Constraint Manager in OrCAD Presto. For more tutorials, visit us at resources.ema-eva.com and don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.